Fear and greed run through the wire. Candles climb and then expire. Our edges cut from the profile, sharp and clean by every buyer. He conquers the markets, he turns water into wine. His timing flows where chaos turns divine. Cut sharp enough to time the sign. Yeah, this man's no common trader. He commands the market's numbers. We call him Chef Bailey. The market bends beneath his flame. Fear and greed run through the wire. Candles climb and then expire. Our edges cut from the profile, sharp and clean by every buyer. Markets move, they twist and swing. Every tick can burn or blink. Ryan keeps calm, he trusts his thing. The charts tell him everything. But when T1 makes ding, 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 the futures spread their hidden wing. And he is ready for anything. Vic's still looking like a restless king.
Ready to stop guessing and start growing as a trader. Welcome to Vici Trading Solutions, a community built by real traders for serious learners. We don't just post trades, we teach the why behind every move. With a full education section and daily breakdowns, you'll start seeing the market like a pro. You won't be trading alone. Inside the Vici Discord, you're surrounded by committed traders, from futures pros to rising crypto specialists, all learning and winning together. Gain first access to our exclusive indicators, powerful tools used daily by hundreds across TradingView and beyond. These aren't gimmicks, they're built to sharpen your edge. Each morning, our founder posts a full trading plan for the S&P 500 or NASDAQ and calls out the levels he's watching live. No fluff, just clarity. Education, tools, community. Whether you trade futures, stock, or crypto, Vici gives you the foundation and firepower to grow. Join Vici, trade smarter, conquer the markets.
Oh, we're back. I know you guys see it. I'm home. My boy Zook hit me up this morning talking about it's good to be home, and that you're damn right it's good to be home, Zook. Man, it feels good. I got to tell you, though, the wifey had a lot of work for me when I got here, and there was a lot of work piled up. I have been at it. So for those of you guys who know, I moved my whole office, my entire office, to my parents' house. I have a lot of shit going on in here. And so I didn't want to undo it. So I just bought all new office stuff. And I spent all day yesterday putting it together. And so that was a really long day. Then did the trade plan. I had an awesome podcast with a guy who I'm going to introduce here in a little bit. He's super. He's actually one of my former idols, still an idol, but listen, I caught up with him a little bit, but he is an idol. And it's just been a crazy day. We had a pretty amazing call out on the trade plan yesterday. So we're going to go over that. And I'm just going to shoot you straight here. I'm not as prepared as I should be. I've been working all day on paperwork and busy work. I traded this morning. My girl ended up leaving. She's out of town for a week. I took her to the airport. And so I got to tell you, we're just going to kind of freestyle a little bit. We're going to wing it. I got a lot of stuff to cover today. And it's not just the trade plan. The trade plan is a very small portion of it. We're going to cover quite a few things, 4 things on the list. Actually, I even made a list. I never make a list. I always just freestyle. So kind of shows you where I'm at right now. First off, let me give a shout out to Bernardo, Bo's in the house, Jiffy, and Sandra. Sandra, it's been a while. It's a pleasure. I hope this is the same Sandra I know so well. You know what I'm talking about, Sandra. All right. So let's get into it. As usual, guys, please follow me across all your socials. Ryan Bailey Edge across YouTube, Substack, X, and TradingView. Speaking of TradingView, I just put out a brand new indicator that's going to help everyone so much that follows the trade plans. We're going to get into it here in a little bit. I just put a post out actually in the on Substack and X about it. So this is going to be a big deal, guys. For anybody who's following along in the trade plans, I basically have an indicator that I'm going to show you that, I figured out how to basically get it so it copies all my levels. It's going to look just like my chart. It's going to be color coded, everything. All you guys got to do is copy the string in the morning, paste it in, and we're good. What's up, Russell? Good to see you, player. Pleasure. So I think this is going to be a huge help for everybody. I know it's got to be a pain in the ass for everybody to draw this in the morning. I get the trade plans out to you about 8:30, and you got an hour to draw everything. That's a nightmare. So I feel you. I understand. I hear you. Promises made, promises delivered. My apologies for it being 2 weeks late. But hey, listen, this was actually way harder than I anticipated. So we'll get into that shortly. I want to show you what it looks like and show you what's up, show you how to use it, and we'll go from there. So again, thank you guys for hanging out with me during this tough time for me. As you guys know, I moved in with my parents. I was taking care of my dad. He had hip surgery. He's 87 years old. I wasn't so sure when I first moved in if everything was going to be okay. I was literally thought he was going to have to go to the nursing home at some point. But I mean, the first week I was literally picking him up and carrying him from spot to spot. It was scary, and it made me honestly think a lot about me and when I get older, because I was like, damn, are my kids going to do this for me? Shit, I really need to save a bunch of money so I can hire a little Taiwanese kid to take care of me. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we're here to do. We're here to make some money so we can get these little Asian kids to take care of us. No offense if you're Asian, it's a joke. But anyways, so yeah, it was a really tough time. And thankfully I got a lot of DMs from people through the whole time. And obviously now people know that I'm back because of the weekend review, and, people were sending their regards and their love, and I really appreciate it. I mean, you guys really pulled through for me, so I just wanted to say thank you. I didn't know that many people actually cared, so thank you guys for thinking of me, and everything's good. So we're going to get into the trade plan right now. This is actually from the weekend review. I did a whole trade plan this morning in the Discord room, and I didn't copy any of it over. I'll just be honest. I didn't copy any of it over, and we're not even going to talk about it. It was really good, but I forgot to copy it over, and I don't want to waste your time. On Mondays, I always do a little mini trade plan in the room, exactly the same way as I do with everything else, right? And so, this was part of the perks and advantages of, being in the room. But also another thing that I noticed this morning was Bitcoin was up 3.5% when we came into the day. So that was kind of a biggie for me. I was like, oh, okay, Bitcoin's been getting its ass whooped. Now it's up 3.5%. That's not exactly a small potatoes, right? It was like $2,500 or something. I was like, okay, Bitcoin, I see you, right? And so, as a lot of you guys know, we came into the day yesterday, or today, I should say, and we talked about this in the trade plan yesterday. We have some VIX data that we've been playing off of for quite some time that we're going to talk about today. And so I expected a pop. Absolutely, I expected a pop. We talked about it in the weekend review, and it came to fruition. So, here we go. So let's just start with this. So last night, as I'm doing the trade plan, the market opened, we gapped down 106 points immediately. Boom, right? It was down 106 points. By the time I'm done with my trade plan, we're down like 150. I'm like, damn. And so those of you guys who watch the trade plan know as I'm sitting here doing it, I pull VIX over. I'm like, wait a minute, VIX closed up 25% on Friday. Well, there's a statistic here that we're going to get into here in 1 second. So just to kind of get into this, we talked about the geopolitical events that developed over the weekend that contributed to the massive gap move, right? And so this was a big key up here as well that I wanted to point out to you guys. 106-point gap down and the VIX squeeze. That was right there, the VIX squeeze, right? So we broke down the 69.0875 shift. As you guys know, that's my new massive above below pivot to the high. We talked about the VIX, and then the extreme support at 66.27. Now this is going to come into play as we start talking about the progression today. I actually pulled up some progression. I wanted to show you guys how we moved and how we could actually play the levels, because we gapped lower than a lot of the levels. So I want to show you guys how it was once resistance becomes support, et cetera, vice versa. So we're going to get into that. So here's the other big thing, right? So we had this VIX statistic. We've talked about this. You guys have heard me talk about this a few times now, just now. So VIX was up over 48% this week alone and closed up 24% on Friday. Historically, there's a 90% chance, it's actually like 87, but a 90% chance that the market rallies within 24 to 48 hours when this happens. So far, it's always been the next day. So I was leaning on that pretty good to the, today. I figured, okay, we're going to pop. That's kind of how I'm feeling about it. I knew we come off at the lows, which we'll soon talk about. And it was an absolute knife catch. We were joking around in the room because when I show you the buy, you're like, oh, there's no way. There's no way. Well, I'll show you. Look, so here's the current context, right? So we finally broke out of that range from the massive multi-month, multi-week bounce. We got below it. We've been sitting for months. And so it was really nice to get out of that area. But always remember one thing, right? So we play the profile, right? Or I play the profile. And really the profile is all about value. The big weekly profile is how you determine value. If you're sitting right in the middle, well, that means the weekly value is, pretty stagnant, right? When you get on the edges, you can really kind of pull back into either the mean from either above or below. And since we gapped down hella crazy, it was pretty obvious that they were going to buy this back. And again, I'm still bearish. I'm going to keep it real. Just because we popped 150 points today, that means shit to me, right? So I'm still bearish, until we basically popped 69.08, which we'll get into today. I'll show you guys. But we talked about it in the weekend review. We can actually come up a little bit more tomorrow before we smack. So we'll get into that too. So right now we had this massive, gap down. And so, as I'm doing that, it was like basically bleeding out on the small intraday time frame, right? But we're looking at the high time frame. And so we were watching this area right here closely for a sweeping along. And so let's just go ahead and get right into it. This was really interesting. So this is funny because this is what I said that actually played in the middle of the night last night. Kind of comical. This was my last buy zone, right? Literally the last line to buy. 65.85 and 65.91. 91 was support, and then 85 was the value area low. But look what I said right here. I would be scared to buy 91, right? So, but look what they played. They literally came down and played the 65.85 perfect to the tick, which is the 91, what have you. Now, if you guys recall, I talked about this 27 in the trade plan title. That comes into play. Also, I wanted to show you. Now, I talked about this in the weekend review, but I wanted to show you where this level came from. It's important for you guys to listen. Even if you don't chart it yourself, I'm the kind of guy it's like me. I'll just put it to you like this. I'm okay with buying somebody's stuff or using somebody's stuff as long as I know how it works. I'll let them do the work. I don't care about that, but I at least have to understand the concept, right? If I understand the concept, I know where it came from, I can get on board with that, right? So that's why I always try to show you guys how this works. So this is the weekly profile. And I pointed this out to her. I was like, look how massive this weekly profile is, right? It was from November 16th. And look at this. That was literally the weekly value area low. I called out this particular one in particular. It was so funny. We didn't talk about any other one, but we talked about this one. And because it just stood out to me so much, especially once we moved out of value, this was the biggest weekly range that we had. Actually, if you look right here, this range was 252 points. That is a monster for a weekly. I will just tell you right now, let me pull this up just to kind of show you guys because we're just shooting from the hip, right? We're shooting the breeze here. Check this out. I'm going to pull this down. So I have something that measures the weekly ranges right now, okay? The average weekly range is 146 points right now. And we've had a lot of volatility, a lot. And so the average weekly range is 146 points, right? We've actually already moved. Look at this. Wow, this is crazy. It's Monday. And we've already moved 121% of it. That's insane. I learned something new today, didn't I? All right. So, but that kind of gives you an idea of how massive this profile was for this week because it moved like 100 more points than we've moved now. So it stood out to me. And this is a super fat belly. I could see a lot of volume in here. So when I saw this and I saw these other areas down here, this blue one was a weekly that was derived from the ETH time frame chart, and then this 4 hour, et cetera. And what I was looking for more than anything was this 27 spot. So again, how I was planning on playing this, and I didn't think it was going to happen last night when I was sleeping, but it did, was for this area to play and really use the 26 spot here for the above below to kind of launch off of. And we talked about these 60s areas and getting above 74, which played out today. So we'll talk about that here real soon. Let's go ahead and get into the long today, just so that we know what's up. Actually, let's talk about this VIX data before we do this. So here was why I was leaning to the long side. So obviously this was huge, right? This is a monster, pivot here. We came up, we were sitting above our massive supports that we just talked about, which we'll get into a little bit more. But this is a big stat. Hey, what's up, Billy? Billy's in the house. By the way, big shout out to Billy. Billy is new in the Inner Circle crew. Billy is a straight player, right? Billy's been in here like 3 days. He's already made, I don't know, like three grand or something crazy. He is so consistent. I'm so proud of this guy. he is really, he's making me look pretty good. So he makes me look better than I do. So thank you, Billy. Todd, good to see you. But man, Billy, that's what's up, bro. You are a beast. And Billy's a pilot too, so I like that. All right, so back to the whole thing. So listen, I put this whole post out during the Trump tariff ordeal when we were sliding down hard. So again, just because like this is written a couple months ago, last April, that doesn't make it not any good, right? So this actually goes back for 32 years of data. I reposted this. I talked about the statistic in the Weekend Review. I reposted a few other times. And somebody even wrote me back and said, why are you talking about something you wrote back in April? Motherfucker, this is 32 years worth of data, right? The data doesn't change. If anything, it gets even better. So here's the deal. If we have a 20% close on VIX any given day, not Friday, but any given day, right? We have an 87.3% chance of a rally the next day, that the S&P will close green. That is a massive statistic, massive. So we close with the VIX up 24%, and then we gapped down 150 points in the overnight session. Man, I was looking for this long. You better believe it. And there's more than one reason. So here's the other thing. This wasn't just it, right? So here was the other flip of the coin. So yeah, man. Yeah, Billy, you already know, bro. You're so impressive. Man, I love having you in the room. Here's the other part of the whole ordeal, right? So, I have to know, because I'm a big statistics guy. Everybody knows that. It's just a part of the game. If you have been in this game long enough, you trade stats. You just do, because you can't trade gut feeling. You can't trade emotion. Your process has a statistic. You know exactly what your win rate is. You know your setups. You know how often they win. And so for me, like, data just goes hand in hand. Okay. And I've talked about edge flow. I've talked about all that shit, right? Because it is, it's a complement to everything. So for me, this is what it is on any given trading day. So here what it is on just Fridays alone, right? So if we close with 20% up on a Friday, basically we have a 76% chance of a rally the next day. So given these two together, I was really leaning to the upside quite a bit. So, this stat alone, please don't forget this stat. I will more than likely repost the same thing when it happens again next time. And so I don't want to hear anybody tell me, oh, that's old, that doesn't count. Okay, this thing's older than most people trading right now. So I don't want to hear that shit. So something to keep in mind there, guys. All right. So again, now let's talk about the next long, right? So, and again, I just plug them. I'm always going to plug them. And Billy, I'm actually going to do something special for you and somebody else in the room today. We're going to talk about Edgeful here in a little bit and how I use it every day, because I know that you said, you like it and you just want to know more about it. So we're going to do that. So I post this in the morning all the time, just because I use it. So why not share it? You guys are, you're in the room. It's part of the program. If you're in there, I'll give you as much information as I can. So here's the deal. So I actually look for the gap fills. So I really like on the indices in particular, because they are naturally bullish by design, right? And so when we have a gap lower, like an outside day, I'm always looking to get long to bring it back to either the previous day's low, which would be Friday's low, or, half gap for that matter. We played the exact same trade Friday. Everybody made hella bank Friday doing the exact same thing. We gapped below the previous day, Thursday's low. We all got long on the sweep. We broke it up 40 points. We all made enough money to go to Bahamas. I bought a new computer setup. So everybody made money. And so I love this trade when it comes to the indices. The same thing applied here today. We gapped lower. I was looking for it to come higher. Obviously, I was looking for the first thing I was looking for was the 17, or actually the 15. See, the bearish outside day reversal, right? It was a 76% chance it was going to come up and play 67.15, right? So not only do we have the outside reversal, but they also measure it by gaps. So we basically had a 76% chance that was going to happen. Okay, cool. We also have an 80% chance that when the VIX is going to pull back, we're going to rally. Okay, cool, right? So what's the next thing? All right, so what the next thing is I always do the gap fills by both half gaps and full gaps. Whether people like to believe it or not, half gap is a level. I only know this from experience because I've been trying to fill gaps for too long, and then it goes halfway and I never get my full ride and I get pissed. So now I realize, okay, listen, I'm going to take profits at half gap. These guys are doing it. It happens all the time. So I always measure half gap, right? So right here, half gap, there was a 90% chance that we were going to fill the half gap. Now, it gives a target of 67.42. That is a flaw in Edgeful. Actually, I'm going to write them and let them know. The half gap was 67.16. Well, guess what? That was also the outside day reversal. So now I have, but again, you should know what the half gap is if you're doing the data, right? You should already know. So I'll have them fix that. But in the meantime, the full gap was 42%. You can see that there was actually, it was 72% chance they were going to fill the gap. It doesn't matter. So look, here's the deal. I was only looking really for the 15 spot as my main target anyway. And it was really far from where we were at currently. So a 90% chance is insane. And now this is based on 6 months worth of data. I went ahead and pulled it individually for 12 months worth of data. And I had an 84% chance that they were going to fill this on the 50% on a Monday. And my target was 67, 16, 38. Okay, we're off by a point somewhere. It doesn't really matter. Close enough for me. And so I was using all this information to basically give you guys and me guys, a long bias, right? Because, we're talking about 70, 80% chances here that we're going to go up. There is no reason to try to get short. Yeah, shorts played for scalps. They played right off the rip. I was actually a little surprised. I thought they'd, be a little bit more aggressive, and they ended up making it work. They did that lemon squeezy today, man. They squeezed everybody's ass, but it wasn't at first. They had to kind of get that Momo going. So that was really interesting, in my opinion. So I'm going to go ahead and just pull up the progression here, and we're going to talk about levels. We're going to look at it both on the ETH side and the RTH side. Okay. So this is my 1 hour chart on an ETH chart. ETH basically means electronic trading hours. This is from the moment the market is open, it's moving. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and hide myself here. You guys don't need to see me. I'm not that pretty. All right. So here we go. Last line to buy, 65, 85, 91. We played this. Okay. And then of course, this was the spot that I really liked. This was the spot that I kept talking about in the trade plan as well, in the weekend review, 67.27, 66.33, right? This area is very much tested, but holding this area is extremely pivotal, okay? So I wanted to see him push below, I wanted to see him, reclaim this area since last night, and they obviously did. Now, this was at 3 o'clock in the morning, right? So they played our area, they came up, they remounted on this. Now we come up. Now we had the big 60s, right? 60, 64. I talked about this level specifically, and I said, if they play this and they get back above the 74, right? That was that weekly swing low that I told you. I said, there's a good chance they can really squeeze this, right? And that's even right here. We want to see our 60, 64 play. If we reclaim 74, we squeeze all the way back up to 1623 area. What was 1623 area? Yeah, that was where the data was pointing us, right? And so that was actually the RTH session, what I'll get into. This is the beginning of the cash session. I'll lay it out for you here shortly. So in the next spot right here. And again, guys, don't forget what was once resistance or support becomes resistance and vice versa once we're above it, right? But we knew we were squeezing higher, right? We know this, right? So we're pushing up here. We were targeting 16. Here we are. And they got a little pullback here. Not huge, but, 30, 40 points. They were kind of playing around in here. It's so funny because we say not huge, 30, 40 points. That's just how crazy this market is right now. 30, 40 points is sometimes a whole freaking range for the day. And they're kind of juking this on little pullbacks. This is a trader's delight. So anyways, let's get up here. So we have the 23.16 area right here. We talked about this. I said, this is our big above below spot. I know you guys all remember this to watch this. This is with the massive gap down. This is our big above below spot for the immediate area. Well, listen, you can see they kind of fiddle fucked around here a little bit, and then they pushed above it once they found value and acceptance. So that is kind of how you can play the levels and use them in context, especially if you know, and if obviously in your room, I'm like, hey, we're going to squeeze. I make a lot of silly commentary, but, a lot of it's because, we got to keep this interesting. So, but it's pretty obvious what was happening here. And I still think we can come up a little higher. So let's go ahead and talk about this. So here it is on the RTH chart. Because I am an RTH cash session trader, I also have the cash session charts up, right? And so this is pretty clear. So listen, we didn't, when we opened up, we were way far away from the 33s and the 90s and all that. So now we're all the way up at our 60s. Right? This is we're at the 60 spot. This is where we opened the day. And here was my 74 reclaim. So it's funny because we talked about, this was the main area that I was interested in buying yesterday in the weekend review. And we actually gapped right through it. We went right through it. But when we opened up in the cash session, guess what? We were right there. And I even told you guys last night, I said, I am not touching this shit, right? I will wait till the cash session. And lo and behold, there we are, right by our level that we were interested in anyway. Right. And so, boom, what did they do? You can see they pushed right over the 74. came right up here. And then look at this. This is so legit. Like, I was all about this 1627, right? Okay, so we were long looking to fill that. Okay, cool. But once they're above it, like look on this RTH chart. You can see once they clear above this, there's like, you can't stop it, right? There's nothing to stop it, right? And you come all the way up, and this was our next pivot. And what's funny is look at this. We actually had 67.16 through 23, right? This was the big, spot. Look what we played. There was 14. They literally played like 16 or 18. That was the high of the day. I'll be here all week. Ooh, sorry. All right. Pat myself on the back with that one. All right. So that's really the trade plan. So, what are we going to be looking for next week? Shit. Sorry. What are we going to be looking for today? Well, we'll talk about that tomorrow because I got a lot to cover with you guys. But one of the big things that I want to talk about with you right now is VIX, right? Because you guys know that for me, this is the ultimate tiebreaker. Okay. So, right now we're sitting on our massive monthly level at 2470, right? We've talked about this level so many times, so we're blue in the face. It's ridiculous, right? But right below this, we have this untested weekly at 2343. To me, this is like the true line in the sand, okay? We want to see 20. So we're either going to pop right now from this 2470, and we're never going to get to this weekly, or we come down here and we play the 2343, and they get back above this weekly at this monthly at 2470, and we just take off. Okay. That's the two bull case scenarios for VIX, bear case scenarios for ES, bull case for VIX. The flip side of the coin is if we push below the 2343 on VIX, it's over with. We're just going to keep going up on ES. Okay. And then we'll have to just kind of monitor it as she goes. My next untested spot will be the $20 handle, which, we've all talked about the $20 handle many times. We know how big this is, and quite frankly, this is, we're still in negative gamma territory. There's a lot of reasons to think that we could still come back down, and I'm just going to show you this, and I'm kind of like shooting from the hip right here, but anybody who's in the room, and you guys have heard me talk about this before, look at all these singles on this weekly profile. That is a mad inefficiency. It's obviously on the daily profile as well. They're not going to leave this is going to get cleaned up. Now we will talk about what we're going to smack to come back down here, but this is not going to stand. I will not stand for it, and neither will the market. I promise you that. So that they're going to come clean this up. When, we don't know, but just keep an eye on that. And so let's just look and see where that comes to. Hang on. Let's see. I'm kind of curious. $67.41. Okay, that's good to know. So, right now we're at 93 and 60 points from where we're at, basically. So, we'll see what happens. I'll look into it later and we'll figure it out. So that's my situation. This is my tiebreaker. This is my VIX. This is what's good, what I'm looking at to kind of figure this out. And so tomorrow will be really interesting because we squeezed balls today. Squeezed balls. We're still not bullish. I'm going to keep it 100% real with you guys. This happens all the time in bear market conditions. I'm not going to sit here and say we're in a bear market because everybody knows that we're technically not. But, short squeezes happen, and they happen hard. And this is people blow accounts all the time. But really what they're doing is they come down, they test something, they squeeze balls, they come all the way up, they test the highest untested, and they get slammed again. We did the same thing when we popped up to 69.16. I'll show you. And, this was the same exact situation here. And, we came down and we played this 67.94. We squeezed balls all the way up to 69.65. Called this short live and in charge for everyone, right? I was like, this is the spot. If this thing gets Billy Club, we are going to come way down. Why? Because they swept the low. They came all the way back up and they retested this high up here, which was right here, and just got nailed. Right. And so this is the kind of thing that happens all the time. So again, what are we doing? We tested the lows. We come all the way back up. I'm pretty sure I like this level here at 68.59. I also like 35, but really like 59. And then we'll see what happens there. Right. This is also our big monthly at 57. So I'm going to leave that there. Now let's get into the next thing because I'm kind of excited to talk about this. Okay. So this is good stuff. So I just published an indicator that should help everyone out here. Okay. This is awesome stuff. It's free for everyone. All you have to do is go on TradingView right here, Ryan Bailey Edge, and download it. It's right here, the S&P levels. And I am going to, every morning in the trade plans, there's going to be a string at the bottom of the trade plan. You just copy it and paste it in once you get this indicator, and you're going to have every level already labeled, already colored, just like mine. Done. that you don't have to spend an hour anymore trying to chart everything up before the market starts. We're done. That's it. So I'm going to show you guys exactly what it looks like, how it works. So this is my chart right here. All right. And so the nice part about it is you can turn the Indy on and off, right? And you can also like hide your stuff as well. So if you want to draw your levels, you can have your levels on there too. Okay. So this is basically what it's going to look like. You can either hide this indicator, or you can hide your levels, or you can have everything on there if you want, whatever. So this is going to be brand new. This is awesome. I hope that you guys all take advantage of this because, I mean, for those of you who don't use TradingView, sorry for your luck. I don't use it either. I use Sierra, but there is a lot of TradingView users out there. Actually, I mean, as you can tell, I use TradingView constantly for everything. I just don't execute from it. So anyways, if you're using TradingView that's out there, enjoy it. That one's for you guys. The next thing, we're going to talk about Edgeful real fast because I have a lot of people who have signed up on my links and they want more information on how to use this. So let's just talk about this. I'm going to just do a really quick once over on this, guys. So look, check this out. So when you come in here, right, the first thing that I'm looking at when I come into the day, I look at right here, what's in play. This is now, it only works when the market's open. But what you do is basically you select right here what tickers you want. They have like everything, every freaking thing's in here. This is for futures. You can do stock, oil, whatever. Thousands of, hang on. Are you guys getting this picture? Hang on, let me see. Yeah, okay. Thousands of things are in here. It's insane, right? For me, I only trade the ES, so it's the only thing I have selected, right? I know it's kind of a waste, but it is what it is. And then you can go in here and select the reports. I want all of them. I want every single report. So for me, this is fantastic. Now, the what's in play, the most they'll give you is 6 months worth of back history data, which is fine. I actually like 6 months worth of history because that's enough data to give you a good sample set. And the regimes do change, right? Bear markets, bull markets, things like that. And so the data is subject to change. I've always, gone with like lots of data, but, Rob, who is the mathematician in our group here, he's all about, he says 6 months is great. So, it works and that's what they give you here. So I'm all about that. Now, on the other side of the spectrum here, we have this right here. So hang on one second. Let me pull up my comments thing just in case somebody says something. I lost it. Give me 1 second here. Hang on. Sorry. Bear with me. wait a minute. Maybe it's in here. Hang on. I want to make sure I can see you. There it is. There we go. All right. So here's the next thing. So this is really cool. And there's a lot of stuff in here, right? So this is if you want to see individual reports. And this is why I said the date range, you can go all the way out 5 years if you want to. So let's just look at gap fills. We talked about gap fills, okay? So you can have your gap fill or whatever you want. We're going to do gap fills. And then a standard report. Yeah, let's look at the standard report right now, okay? And you can customize this right here. You can say, what's the percentage that I want to see fill? Well, for me, initially I was looking at the 50% gap fill rate. So I just select 50. You can do 75, 85, 90, whatever. You can even do more than that if you want. You can do over the gap if you want to see how often it overextends that, which is pretty sweet. So I'm going to leave it at 50 right now and hit save, okay? Now, we know right now coming into this that on gap ups, that 78% of the time is filled, on the short side to fill the gap. And on a gap down, 90% of the time it gets filled. Now, that's the exact same statistic that Edgeful gave us today. Remember, I talked about the 90%. I believe it was right here. And this is on the What's in Play dashboard right here, right? Boom. Okay. Super sweet. Right now. Okay. And that's on the 50%. Okay. Now, so the next thing is, and you're like, okay, what about if I want to play with this a little bit more? Right. And so let's go to this right here. Now I can okay, let's do it by weekday. Right. Believe it or not, I didn't realize this, but this actually has different statistics based on what day of the week it is. Super crazy. So Fridays obviously get way more filled but they're more volatile or whatever. And, as you can see, they continue to change. Look at that. On Tuesdays, if we gap down, there's a 100% chance that the gap's going to get filled. 50% of the gap's going to get filled. Let me just go ahead and change this. Let me go over to let me just go to 100%. Let's just change this. Save. There you go. And then, so there you go. So now you can kind of see the real thing. Look at this. On Thursdays, they suck, right? That's good data to have. I mean, that's super cool. I didn't know. Now I'm like watching this shit like a hawk because on Wednesdays, you got an 83% chance. On Thursdays, you got a 33% chance. Good fucking luck. So this is pretty cool. This is good stuff. And it's not just that. There's all kinds of stuff. You can go in here, and I'll do the one last one real quick. Initial balance breakout. I think this is the one that I was looking at. You can even do this by weekday. Yeah, this is the one. So check this out. So initial balance breakout, basically for those of you guys who trade with me all the time, I'm a big market profile guy. The initial balance is the first hour, right? And so we know that the initial balance gets broken. Look at this right here. We know that the high or low of the initial balance, which is the first hour of the day, gets broke 73% of the time. Cool. That's what's up. And you know that basically no break happens only 2% of the time, and a double break, both high and low, happens 24% of the time. So the chances of a no break, probably not going to happen, right? So this is the cool part. This is what I wanted to show you. So I didn't even know this before. Andre, actually, who is the owner and founder and all that jazz, the creator of all this, he came up with a way to figure out the best way to find out which side of the initial balance is going to break. So it's pretty cool. Check this out. Let me see if I can find it here. Oh, let's see. Let's see. How do I do that? By wick. Okay, so you can go in, you can change it. You can change your initial balance. Obviously, for me, it's always an hour. For me, the breakout criteria is just a week. If you are a wick, if you want, you can actually change it to a candle close, which is really interesting because that means that the candle would have to close, and then you can specify the candle. You can say, well, 5-minute candle. So somewhere around here, it's called. Oh, let's find where it's at. Hang on, give me 1 second here. There's a way for you to tell which side that is going to break. Let me see here. Hang on. Oops. There's a way for you to tell actually which side is going to break. I've done this quite a few times, but never on camera. Hang on. Let's see here. By rejection. Here it is. Super cool, right? So here you go. Now you can actually know with a high probability what side is going to break. So how does it work, right? So right here. On the 60-minute IB, which is what it is, right? If the high forms first, you have an 87% chance that the low is going to break. 87%. It's fucking crazy, right? So, dude, this thing's $50. $50. It's $2.50 a day, a trading day. Crazy. Like, this is the kind of data that in my opinion, you can't live without. So I'm going to stop there. I'm going to let you guys kind of dig into this. I can go into this for hours. Andre did a one-on-one with me. I had to record it and watch it like 10 times. There is so much shit on here. It's insane. Okay, so let's go ahead and I hope that helps you, Billy. I hope that answers some of your questions, bro. And if you need any help, I'll do my best to help you. And I know Zug and all kinds of people have this in the room. It's been really helpful for all of us, and it's actually made me a shit ton of money. So I'm really happy about it too. So here we go. So here's the next thing. And here's the final thing that I want to let everybody know. And some of the guys in the room actually know this already. But I have recently been scouted and recruited by a team called Target Trading. Target is a massive trading education company. And they also do more than trading education. They do algorithmic strategies and all kinds of stuff. And so I have partnered up with these guys, and they are going to start pushing my products, and they're going to help us deliver products that I was unable to bring to market before. And so let me go ahead and talk about that. So first and foremost, I'm going to put this link in the bio when we're not the bio, but the post when we're done. On Wednesday at noon, guys, I'm doing an open house with these guys. You guys should come in here. We're going to talk about some of the new programs that we have. Just, fill this out, show up. It's basically going to be my introduction with them in Target Trading. You're going to meet one of the guys that I basically looked up to for many years. He's a professional trader. He's been doing it 17 years as well. And he's just excellent. I knew him from the floor, the whole 9 yards. We are basically going to be doing our partnership announcement, different trading software programs available. They have something called an LOD, which is going to be pretty insane. So I talked about this in the room. So just so you guys know who's in the room right now, Rob is the quant of the group. He is a mathematician and he's phenomenally smart. I mean, just unbelievable. He's a great guy, but let me tell you, the guy is a monster on math. He was working on the spaceships with NASA, making lasers for the Star Wars program. He's got his MBA from Yale in mathematics. He is a legit quant. And he's been super quiet in the room, as many of you guys know. And I've had a lot of people say, where's Rob? Where's Rob? Rob is heads down coding his ass off. So Rob has been making this amazing institutional grade backtester that nobody else in the market has. We are literally the only ones on the retail side that has a true, full institutional based style backtester. And he's been making algorithmic programs. And so this Target Trading is actually going to launch this for us. And what they have is what's called an LOD program, which we're going to be talking about on Wednesday, that I think everybody should be a part of. Basically what it is everything runs through a broker like Iron Beam. Okay. And actually it is Iron Beam. And we send signals to Iron Beam and Iron Beam executes the trade for us. So they are essentially the block account, and everybody links into our quant programs, and they get to ride these algorithmic strategies, and Iron Beam handles all the transactions. Everything is the most unbelievable program. This is all done through Target Trading. This is one of the big reasons why I'm going there, because they're basically helping us launch our quant. It's like a quant fund, but essentially it's a way for us to do algorithmic strategies with you guys. And so it allows you guys to have essentially, full automated strategies that is managed through your own broker. We never touch your money. It's done through Iron Beam. It is the sickest shit. So, we are launching the first one next week, and I suggest you guys be there because there's only 50 spots available. That's all that we're going to do for the first one. And Rob I've showed you actually, I'll save it for Wednesday. Unbelievable stats. It's doing 33%, 35% year over year. That's the first one. We have another one coming out that's doing a scout bot. This is all ES based for now, by the way. It's all futures and ES based. We have another one that's doing 50% year over year. Just unbelievable stuff. Rob has been heads down, just making all this happen. And so I'm really excited to announce this partnership. They have some amazing education programs. They have all kinds of different algorithmic stuff. Besides our stuff, they have these sick hedging programs that people can use if they have large portfolios. That's all automatic. And honestly, these guys are going to probably launch Vici Trading Solutions brand. They're going to get me on CNBC, Fox Business, all this stuff. Your boy's going to be on TV. Your boy's going to be on TV, son. It'll be me and Jim Lee. I get to tell Jim Lee how full of shit he is because he fucking tries to get everybody to buy Ethereum as it's going down. So fuck you, Tom Lee. I can't wait to say it on live TV. So anyways, with that being said, it's going to be a big day Wednesday. I hope you guys can all join me. It's going to be awesome. And so you're going to start seeing them in the room. You'll start to see me kind of promote some of their products. Because it's good and it's really good. I wouldn't say it if it wasn't, and it's going to be a partnership made in heaven here, and I'm super excited about the things to come. So hopefully you guys all come with me. We can all ride the wave. We can all conquer the markets, baby. I'm super excited. I mean, I haven't been this excited in a long time. So anyways, with that being said, we are way over time. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me today. And, tomorrow the trade plan will be out 8:30 in the morning. Sign up for Edgepool. I've showed you how to use it. It's incredible. I will put the link for the landing page for Target Trading. It doesn't cost you anything. Just come and listen to what I have to say. It's good shit. Wait till you see all the equity curves and stuff on these algos. It's sick. And I'm going to present Rob's stuff. Maybe I'll have Rob do it. I don't know, but good stuff. So anyways, appreciate everyone being here with me, and I will see you guys all tomorrow for the post-market breakdown and, of course, the trade plans at 8:30 in the morning. You guys have a good one. Tomorrow we conquer the markets. Cheers.